Miss Apoorva Khajuria. She is a core trainee year 2, currently in the Midlands. And this year, 2021, she is ranked number 1 in the country in her ST3 national selection. So a very excellent result. So she will talk to us about how she's achieved her success. Right, Apoorva, welcome.
Hi, Anne. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak. Lovely to be here. Anne, do you mind sharing my slides? That's okay. So, yeah, thank you, Anne, for inviting me to speak. My name is Apoorva Khajuria. I'm a core surgical trainee in the West Midlands. I'm going to be speaking to you about national selection and work-life balance as a trainee. So just a little bit of an overview about me. I completed my undergraduate medical school training in 2017 from Nottingham. I then moved to Birmingham to complete my foundation training, during which time I applied for core surgical training and ranked 7th in the country to secure my first choice in jobs, which was a year in Coventry in my CT1 year, and then my CT2 year was a full year of orthopaedics, which I'm currently undertaking. And as Anne's mentioned, I'm due to start my specialty training next year in London in October. The key themes that I want to highlight in my presentation are essentially getting organised, planning early, and knowing what you want so that you can achieve your goals. So the key question that we're all here for, do surgeons have a social life? And the honest answer from my experience is yes. However, it comes in varying amounts at various parts of your training. So it's important to realize that surgery has a lot of challenges as a career. So it's physically demanding. On-calls and night shifts can be pretty brutal, and it's very fast paced. However, there are things to allow us to achieve a better work-life balance. So the European Working Time Directive, for example, limits the amount of hours that you do, plenty of rest days in your rotas, and also less than full-time training is also an option to allow you to better achieve better work-life balance. So one of the key messages I want to highlight is the thing about organisation. So work-life balance is not a passive thing. It's something that takes active effort and active steps to achieve that balance, and also being accountable. So in terms of my work-life balance, I have interests outside of surgery, and at times it's been challenging to incorporate those into my everyday activities. However, I've actively taken that time to pursue things like my art. So I've recently started an Instagram page for all my artwork, and it just allows me to be a little bit more accountable for things that I enjoy, and also accountable to other people. So the photos at the bottom, so this is me last year as a core surgical trainee in Coventry, where I was commuting about 2 hours a day, long hours. So myself and one of my colleagues decided that we'll set a certain days in the week where we will FaceTime each other and do a workout for half an hour. And it just allows you to be accountable to someone else, so that motivates you to achieve that work-life balance a little bit better. The next key point is making peace with your work. So you'll come to a stage in your training when the penny will finally drop, and you'll realize whether, work-life balance, where that balance is going to be heavier. So I realized in foundation training that I wanted to do surgery, I wanted to do orthopedics. And all of these things that I've listed on the left are the things that you're going to have to tick off as part of your training. So it's really important to establish, as I've already mentioned, at what various stages in your life where the balance might be a little bit skewed. And in foundation core surgical training, I was focusing a lot on the things that are listed here, and may not have had as much time to do all of the other things that I enjoy doing. But making peace with your work means that you're essentially still having sort of the same level of enjoyment and getting pleasure out of the work that you're doing by spending time with the right people. So I've had the pleasure of working with a really positive and encouraging group of people at work, which has kept me going. And that photo is from the Lake District, where I was taking 1 week of annual leave to prepare for my MRCS exam, and I went to the Lake District. So I had I had plans to obviously revise and prepare myself, but in an environment which is a little bit more relaxing, and it allowed me to better strike that balance. And finally, having boundaries. I think this has already been mentioned. So it's really important to leave work at work, and give your family and your friends 100% when you're with them. So, you know, when you're at home spending time with your parents, give them that time that they deserve. Give them the time that they deserve, and, you know, make time for the things that you enjoy. That photo is it's my day off, not my problem. So that's not to say that, you know, you shouldn't be, it should be unhelpful to your colleagues and etc. But when you're away from work, appreciate that time away, and sort of rebalance your energy, get back into the zone, so that when you're at work, you're giving it your all. Okay, sorry about this. So just an overview of training. So I think a lot of people here are likely to be undergraduate or in the foundation training group. So I'll focus a little bit on this, and happy to take questions at the end regarding applications as well. So in terms of F1 years, so I've taken this from the curriculum, which says that you should be supervised, you should have supervised responsibility for patient care and consolidate these skills. So your priority in F1 is to trying to figure out how to just do the job of being a doctor. A lot of people may feel like this guy here who's in his scrubs, knows he wants to do surgery, wants to get into theatre, but he's on the wards, you know, doing his F1 sort of duties. Unfortunately, that's a rite of passage. And there are things that you will learn in F1 and F2 that will allow you to be a better doctor and a better surgeon. So it's not all at a loss. In F2, there's increased responsibility of patient care. I definitely found this stepping up from F1 to F2 that I was being given a lot more responsibility, assessing acutely unwell patients. And that's something that actually is really useful to prepare you for a core surgical training post, because at that point, again, you're given that extra sort of decision-making responsibilities from your consultants. I've also mentioned my jobs, F1 and F2 jobs, just at the bottom there, because I think it's really important to note that even if you don't have many surgical specialties in foundation year, you can still do really well in terms of getting the jobs that you want at core surgery and in terms of specialty training. So it's all about being organised and knowing what things you need in terms of your portfolio, which I'll come on to next. So start thinking about your portfolio early. The things to do, I've listed some of them here, and actually the themes are just recurrent. So all of these themes are relevant for core training and then also for specialty training. So get organized early and start ticking all of these things off, so that you're well prepared when it comes to that crunch time. A lot of people try and do all of the sort of portfolio prep and things in the last couple of months before they apply, and realistically that's not enough time. So you need to be working throughout F1 and F2, so that when it comes to that crunch moment, all you're really doing is preparing for your interview, and that will allow you to stand apart from the rest of your peers to rank highly. Portfolio wise, so obviously show commitment to surgery, keep a folder of your certificates from early on. So at medical school, you may have done relevant things. So from that time, foundation training, just have the physical, a physical folder for all your certificates, and they can be organized into a nice shiny portfolio at a later stage. Core training, as I've mentioned, the themes are the same. So once you've started, just tie up the loose ends during the latter half of CT1, and CT2 really should just be about organising the portfolio and interview prep. So you can see in that red box, it's a long, it's a bit of a long process over several months, and you'll feel that your CT2 year is, if you choose to apply to surgical training, specialty training straight away, your whole year will be geared towards this. But it's definitely a good feeling at the end of it once you've achieved what you set out. This is for core surgical training, and a similar guidance exists for specialty training as well for all surgical specialties. So get a hold of that early and start preparing so that you're not rushing at the last minute. So I think that's my 10 minutes. I won't be able to stay for the Q&A, unfortunately, as I've got a night shift this evening, but I'm happy to connect with you guys over social media. If you have any further questions, then happy to discuss. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Apoorva. Yeah, I can probably take some of your advice for my AICP prep.